And it's Ken Kraetzer for CBSI Talking Business. Our series of interviews talking with bankers, insurance companies, customer service, and digital marketing agencies. And we are really glad today to talk to one of our friends, John Witkowski, who is the president of the Independent Bankers Association of New York State. And it's got a lot going on. John, how was the start of the year for you?
It's been busy, Ken. Thank you for having me, but it's been a busy start to the year. It feels like it's already mid-June with the amount of stuff that's going on so far.
Well, one of the stories that's been in the press is acquisitions of community banks by credit unions and others. And there was an example of Catskill Hudson Bank being purchased by Hudson Valley Credit Union over a $26 million acquisition. Is this a trend you see in the business?
Well, from the banking side, we hope it's not a trend. I mean, this is one of the things that, look, people have to make business decisions, and we understand that as bankers. Bankers make business decisions every day. But one of the things that's happened here is that when you have a non-tax-paying entity buying a tax-paying entity, it's just not the right optic, and it's not the right thing for the state. Again, business decisions are business decisions, and the reasons behind it, I think Catskill Hudson did the right thing for their community, for their bank. But at the same time, it should not be something that we're not happy about credit unions coming into the banking space when they're really not on a level playing field with community banks. And again, business decisions are business decisions. But when we look at this and to see what's going on in the industry, it's tough to take as being a community bank. I think there's four that have been named so far this year, and unfortunately, I think we're going to see more of that unless we can get some legislation to stop it or make sure that both the banks and the credit unions are on a level playing field when it comes to taxes, when it comes to CRA, Community Reinvestment Act, and a number of other things that are out there.
Hey, I want to ask you about a positive, the big increase in the equity markets in fourth quarter. I go back to Wall Street when we looked at the Dow, and the Dow was up from 34,000 to 37,000 in fourth quarter, and no sign of a recession, which had been a concern among bankers. How does this positive increase in the value of equities and the financial markets help your community banks and the communities they serve?
Well, again, I mean, every time you see the stock market going up, as long as people are invested in it and they're hitting it at the right time, it's a good thing. As far as the investments and the things that bankers invest in, I mean, I think it's also a positive. You're seeing some more opportunities out there. Maybe this will spur some more growth in the communities that we serve. That's at least we can hope so. Interest rate environment is still very tough for banks. Money is very expensive these days to go out and look at either acquiring or investing at this point. So again, when you look at trying to get the money into the community banks to lend out, it's one of those things where you want to make sure you're doing the right thing for your community and for your bank.
Very good, very good. I guess real estate loans are a concern, especially commercial real estate. You had presentations up at your meeting last year. And we have New York Community Bank, which is a big bank, $100 billion institution comprising many affiliated banks. How do you feel about the impact of real estate loans in the near future?
Yeah, I think, we look at the commercial real estate portfolios of all the bigger banks. I think that's one of the issues that's out there is that some of the office buildings, some of the larger office buildings, based on the pandemic and what's gone on, you see a lot less of that space being utilized by their employees. So I think that's going to end up being, depending on how the hybrid work workday goes, 3 days a week, 2 days a week, 5 days a week. I think all companies are doing different things. But when the lease comes up, I think we're going to see a little bit more negotiation, a little bit more of large companies maybe backing down a little bit or shrinking their space a little bit, which is also, impacts the banks, obviously impacts the landlords, the banks, the owners of those buildings. So it all trickles down. So, but you look at community banks, the good thing about community banks is that they are invested in their community. They invested in their homes, their mortgages, commercial mortgages, some real estate in their communities, and they know their communities very well, which is a nice thing. That's the positive about being a community bank, knowing what's in your portfolio, knowing your borrowers, understanding who they are, and working with them in case there is something that comes down. The pandemic caused a lot of issues with people going out of business, a lot of companies not coming back after the pandemic, whether it's a restaurant or hospitality or even manufacturing. Some of that has fallen off a little bit, but still, we're hoping that for some of that comeback, hoping interest rates get better, people will be borrowing more, and make it a little bit more vibrant in each of these areas.
Absolutely. Now, you've got some terrific leadership in your national organization. We had the pleasure meeting your national chairman this year, Derek Williams, when he came up to your summer conference last year, and a lot being done by the ICBA nationally. Really working on guidelines that incur corporate governance and risk management standards seems to be the top of the list, and just constantly differentiating your banks from the much larger ones.
Yeah, again, ICBA does a fantastic job of making sure that they are just focused on the community banks and focused on making sure they support and advocate for them at both the federal, and they help out at the state level too, because obviously we follow guidelines that they put out. But when you look at corporate governance, you look at making sure that banks are healthy with their directors and healthy with their senior people that they have on staff. Again, large banks, they're a lot more spread out. They have a lot more opportunities to bring on people, and they do a lot more extensive background searches. Communities, they bring on people who are business owners in their communities as board of directors, who are leaders in their communities as being part of their board of directors. And again, it's a little bit different view and a little bit different take on how you should do some background checks and how you should look at their health and fitness as far as being a board of director or a senior level manager. So I appreciate what ICBA does. They do a lot for us. Rebecca Romero-Rainey, Kevin Twiddle, Paul Mursky, all of them have done a fantastic job. And again, I couldn't be more happy being affiliated with them.
Yeah, I enjoyed the opportunity to join you for part of the conference last year. This year it's coming up April 28th to May 1st in Washington, the ICBA Capitol Hill. It was really impressive that you had Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, provide a major policy address at your event last year. That was a memorable moment.
Well, again, ICBA pulls a lot of weight down in DC because if you know, around the country, there's 80% or 85% of the banks in this country are considered community banks. And, you got the top five, then you got regionals in the middle. But it's a big part of this country, and people need to realize that community banks have been around for 150 years, 170 years in each of these communities, and fourth, fifth generation families still run and own them. It's amazing to see what community banks do for their consumers, their clients, their commercial clients, and their small businesses in those areas. And ICBA does a great job of representing us at the federal level.
Hey, in New York, you've got your new chairman for the year, Steve Woodard, doing a lot, and you've got events coming up. You've got some training, and then your major conference of the year, you moved it to July at Turning Stone. So tell us about your lineup for the year.
Yeah, just first about Steve Woodard. He's president and CEO of Alden State Bank, and couldn't be happier to have him on board. Our last chairman, Andrews Thompson, did a fantastic job for us and was always present and will continue to do good stuff for us. but Steve is, I'm excited to work with Steve. We've worked together for the last couple of years. That's, to me, that's fantastic. We have Mark LaVarnway, who is our secretary at this point, and he's at Watertown Savings, and have Phil Pecora, who's the vice chair of Genesee Regional Bank. So we have a very strong group of executives on our executive committee. And our board is very supportive of what we do, and we always talk to them about what's going on. So I'm excited about that. And the second part of this is, we do have our spring event coming up. It's a virtual event that we hold for 2 days. We do it through a Zoom. We ask each bank to pay one price, and any one of their employees can come on at any time during the session. It's a 2-day session. We cover a number of different topics, from payments to balance sheets to investment strategies to rebranding to risk management. So there's a number of different topics, and everybody can come in and out as they see fit to listen to their section. April 28th to May 1st, like you said, is our Capital Summit, where we go down to DC and meet with our constituents, our political friends down there at the federal level. And we talk to them about what's going on in community banks in New York State. And then in July 15th to the 17th, we have a 50th year celebration that IBANYS has been in existence. So this is our 50-year anniversary. We're looking to have a big celebration at the Turning Stone Resort and Casino of Verona, New York, right outside of Syracuse. And again, we're going to hold that from July 15th to the 17th.
John Witkowski, any final thoughts for us today?
No, Ken, I appreciate you having me on. I look forward to working with you this year and seeing you at our convention, and hope everything stays well. And I appreciate you having me on.
John Witkowski is the president of the New York State Independent Bankers Association, good friend, former Columbia and NFL quarterback. Good to see you, John, as always. That's Ken Kraetzer for CBSI, Talking Business. Thank you for watching.